Good afternoon. My name is Monika Evans, and my presentation will cover Francis Petrarch. During the early 1300s, Francis Petrarch started on a path of creating great literature, which emphasized great knowledge of humanism. Petrarch is well known for his remarkable poetry and sonnets, which were written in the modern-day Italian language. Francesco Petrarca, known as Francis Petrarch, was born on July 20th, 1304, and was raised in Arezzo, Tuscany with his sibling Gerardo. Although Petrarch showed great interest in ancient literature at a young age, his obligation to the family's business and law overshadowed his personal pursuit of happiness with writing. To complete his studies in law, Petrarch attended the University of Montpellier and the University of Bologna. Ultimately, he never obtained his law degree, but instead ventured into the studies of literature at Avignon. While Petrarch never married, he did father two illegitimate children by the names of Francesca and Giovanni. Giovanni later died due to a plague in 1347, but with high hopes, his sister also married in the same year. Petrarch's father, Sir Petrarco, was outraged at his passion for literature. The demise of his parents played a key role in Petrarch's early works. Petrarch's mother would later account for a great deal of Petrarch's revered poems. Maggie and Kirkham state in their novel, Petrarch, a critical guide to the complete works, that the poet's ideal literary biography begins with the poem to his mother, Alida Canigiani, in the bookish Latin he was learning from his teachers. These verses, a brief panegyric on her death, eventually joined the collection of his metrical letters, the Epistolae. Ironically enough, Petrarch fell deeply in love with a young lady by the name of Laura at the Church of St. Clair. Laura would later inspire Petrarch to create great literary works which are now known as the Rime Sparse. The English translation is Scattered Rhymes. Brandon Gordon states in his article, The Poetry of Petrarch, My Secret Book, that people since Chaucer have been translating individual poems by Petrarch into English, but not until the 19th century were there attempts at an English version of his great lyric sequence in its entirety. John Knott, Robert M. McGregor, and C.B. Cayley produced complete translations. It has been stated that much of Petrarch's writings have been changed and revised by scholars over the years. Petrarch is considered to be the father of humanism due to his great works in classical literature. His ideas of humanism included great emphasis on Christianity and the classical realm. He received a plethora of accolades attributing to his success. In 1341, Petrarch was crowned Rome's Poet Laureate. Petrarch's literary works include, please excuse my Latin pronunciation, Rime Sparse, Secretum, De Viris Illustribus, Rerum Memorandarum Libri, and De Remediis Utriusque Fortunae. It states in the article Petrarch and St. Augustine, Classical Scholarship, Christian Theology, and the Origins of the Renaissance in Italy, that as an avid classical scholar, Petrarch reconstructed the surviving decades of Livy's Ab Urbe Condita while still a young man, and discovered Cicero's letters to Atticus in the library of Verona Cathedral in 1345. Petrarch's works have inspired other philosophers like Chaucer, Boccaccio, and Shakespeare. Petrarch was well known for his emphasis in attempting to enmesh spirituality with the classical realm. During this era, Petrarch created what is known now as the letter to Colonna. Jennifer Summit states that this text has been widely held to have rediscovered Rome's classical monuments. It was addressed to his friend Giovanni Colonna and was written between the years of 1337 and 1341. Unfortunately, Colonna later died due to the plague of Black Death. Trionfi became one of Petrarch's most revered works. The Trionfi is a combination of victories that involve love, lust, chastity, death, and perpetuity. James Simpson states that Petrarch addresses in the first instance two traditions of ditto in his Trionfi, the Virgilian tradition and a separate anti-Virgilian tradition. The Virgilian tradition of ditto needs no introduction. To the second anti-Virgilian tradition, Petrarch alludes twice in the triumph of chastity. Petrarch compares himself with other chaste lovers. He says he sees ditto. In response to his readers on this version of Trionfi, Petrarch states, "But why am I seeking authorities for something so clear? For who except some of the multitude, who anywhere, I ask, is so uneducated as not to know that the story of Ditto and Aeneas is fictitious, and that it has gained the status of truth among men eager not so much for truth as for beauty?" Ultimately, Petrarch created remarkable poems and sonnets. He was able to share some of the greatest letters ever written with the world. Having spent most of his years dodging the plague of Black Death and losing so many loved ones in the process, Petrarch decided to spend the remaining years of his life in Italy. During his lifetime, Petrarch was able to spend a great deal of time traveling. He traveled to places like Rome, Flanders, the Netherlands, and Germany. He would later meet his demise at the age of 70. His works will forever be appreciated and remembered, for it started the era of humanism and ended a very dark period in history. A wise man once said, "True, we love life, not because we are used to living, but because we are used to loving. There is always some madness in love, but there is also some reason in madness." Francesco Petrarch.